Howdy guys, Bookie Laura here. Now we are rapidly approaching the end of 2016. Dun dun dun. And it's very shocking and very frightening, but at least I get to get my festive on. And that just got me thinking about the books that I've read this year and which ones I've enjoyed the most. So I've decided to do my top 5 books that I've read in 2016. It should be clear from the title, but these are books that I have read in 2016, not necessarily books that were released in 2016. So when I decided to do this, I used Goodreads to look at the books that I'd read this year, and I put them in order of rating. Now I only had 2 books that I'd given 5 stars to. I'm a tough cookie. It's tough to get a 5-star review out of me. So then I looked at the ones that I'd given 4 stars to, and which ones had sort of stayed with me. The books that had stayed with me and I was still thinking about and thinking really positively about. And probably should change them to 5 stars. But moving on. So these are in no particular order because I started trying to think of an order and it was giving me a right brain ache. So in no particular order, the first book, and one that I gave 5 stars to on my Kindle, is In the Darkness That's Where I'll Know You, The Complete Black Room Story by Luke Smitherd. Now you can buy this as 4 separate books, or you can buy it as one. I got it as one, and I blooming loved it. I wrote a little Amazon review of this, and it went vaguely something like, if you like romance stories, you're gonna like this. If you like science fiction stories, you're gonna like this. If you like horror stories, you're gonna like this. If you like thrillers, you're gonna like this. If you like mysteries, you're gonna like this. It's just got it all. It's just a really well-rounded book that brings in lots of different genres, and as ever is twisty and turny, and I highly rate it. He is one of my top fave authors, and he is completely undervalued, and everyone needs to read his books. Book number 2. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This was probably a book that I was very nervous about reading because it was really, really overhyped. Not overhyped, it was really, really hyped up, and everyone was saying it was amazing, and I was really worried about reading it, thinking, will it live up to these expectations? But it really did. I think even if you take out of it all the 80s references, all the video game references and movie references that everyone loves, it's still a really good story. I think that the whole concept of a dystopian future where most contact takes place through technology is really interesting, and it raises a lot of really interesting questions in your head about what is important and where is the future going, as well as being a very exciting adventure story. So if you haven't already, doubtful, then you should read this. The third book I don't have a copy of, but I do have a copy of its sequel, Hidden Bodies by Caroline Kepnes. So my third top book you should read this year is actually You by Caroline Kepnes. I read this, it was one of the first books I read this year, and I still can't get it out of my head. I have since read the sequel, Hidden Bodies, which is good but not as good. You is incredible. It is a book about a stalker, basically, a guy that stalks somebody. He's a freaking nut job, but you do fall in love with him. Just a massive amount. And I don't think I've ever really had a crush on someone in a book like I do about this Raging Psycho, and that speaks volumes about how well it is written. It's written in the second person as well, so it's as though the main character is talking to you, which I think adds a really different element, but it's fundamentally just a really well written suspense story. My fourth book, which I've read and again do not have a copy of, is a book I can't even remember the name of, Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. Again, I hadn't heard of this book before I got involved on BookTube, but I started hearing about it again and again and again. And in the end I thought, I've just got to read it. I knew that I was into YA, I enjoy reading YA books, and I thought, let's give it a go. And I really wasn't disappointed. It's based on a sort of fairy tale, the story of her with the shoes. Must be Cinderella. It's based on Cinderella, I think, but in a sort of dystopian future, as they all are, and it changes elements of the story to make them different. And it does it in a really interesting way, so it stays true to the story of Cinderella, but without just retelling it and being boring. one of the biggest pluses for me was the strong female. I love strong female characters. Since then, I've gone on to read the second book in the Lunar Chronicles, and I loved it just as much, so I'm hoping to finish them very soon. The final book is one that I've read quite recently and gave 5 stars to, and that is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I know this has had very mixed reviews from people. Some people love it, some people don't. And I think that's down to generally whether or not you are the kind of person that can guess what's happening. I'm not. Therefore, the suspense and the excitement and the reveal moment has a real impact on me, whereas a lot of people felt it was predictable. I don't have that problem because I'm rubbish at predicting. I just thought it was really well written mystery thriller book, and I hadn't read one in a while, and it is a genre I love. So I gave it 5 stars, and it's, you know, it is in my top 5 books of the year. So those are my favourite 5 books that I have read in 2016. I found it remarkably easy to pick them out, actually. I think they have really stood out for me. I would love to know if you've read any of them, or what your favourite 5 books are that you've read this year. So do let me know. And thanks for watching, guys. It's been a great year, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.